This is interesting and a little bit spontaneous. So, as you're probably aware, I've done a couple of recordings in the back of my car, but I've never done a recording in the back of my car using my proper microphone. Yeah. That's the slight problem with this scenario, is that I don't have a pop filter, so I'm going to have to be very careful when saying anything that involves the words of plosives. Ugh, noise. What if I pop? Pop? If I talk sideways to the microphone, that might help. I have to just be, oh, for God's sakes. How much of this is going to get into the final recording? I don't know. I'm very sorry. Anyway, hello and welcome back to The Lion's Den. I'm your host, Matt, as always. And yes, I am indeed recording in the back of the car. And I am also using my proper microphone setup. So it will probably sound a little bit better than it does when I use my phone in my car. But you'll still have the acoustic properties of my car, which are not necessarily the best. But anyway, I'm kind of excited to be recording in the back of a car, as weird as that is, because I can actually just say and talk as I want without having to worry about other people looking at me weird, well, outside of the people in the car park. But I've hopefully picked a spot that's kind of secluded. Anyway, it's probably going to be a bit noisy, a bit windy. I am rambling too much explaining my situation. Let's go! I'm genuinely so excited. So excited. So, I've been playing a lot of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I've also just realised I can see my reflection in the rearview mirror, so I can watch myself talk as I'm recording this podcast. Yes. So, I've been playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity a lot recently, and, I started it when I first bought it, like, probably a year ago, and I enjoyed it. It's a little button mashy, but the mechanics are nice, and it's really fun to play as all of the characters in it. I mean, obviously the main draw is getting to play as the champions, which is really friggin' cool. Really friggin' cool. Urbosa is by far my favourite, and Rivali is so fun to play. Mipha and Daruk are alright, but they're no Urbosa. But yeah, I stopped playing just because I didn't have time to sit down and play it, because you can sink easily an hour into it in a play session because some of the levels are just really frigging long. But I decided to sit down recently and just dedicate some time to actually playing some single player games. I've been playing a hell of a lot of Smash recently, and I thought, I've kind of burnt out a little bit with Smash, and I've burnt out definitely with Animal Crossing, so I need something else to play. So I thought, I'll pick it up and actually try and finish the story. Oh my god, the story gets so much better. So much better. And it makes up for some of the mechanical failings of the game, and for some of the, slogging, grindy sections of the game. It makes up for it in spades, and it is massive spoilers where I'm at currently, so I'm not going to say anything, but basically, they put one of my favourite characters in, and I'm so excited to get to play them. So excited. So when I'm going to be dedicating more time in my evenings to playing Hyrule Warriors, because holy moly, it is fantastic. It is fan service up the wazoo, and if you don't know what that means, I'm sorry, it's English lingo. Basically, there's just a lot of fan service, and it is absolutely frigging fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And my only major complaint really with the game, outside of the whole grindiness, but I mean, that's kind of the type of game that it is, it will be grindy, is the Flurry Rush window. It's awful. It's so hard to hit the Flurry Rush window. It's so hard to hit, and I do not understand. Sometimes, I believe, generally, I'm either way too early, which means I just dodge the attack, but then I don't get the flurry rush, or I'm really late and I'm already being murdered, which when you're fighting things like Lionels is really bad because they hit like a truck. And the biggest problem I had is there are certain missions that are timed, and you have to fight really strong enemies. Now, the fastest way to kill them is to flurry rush, destroy their, shield bar. I'm talking in terms that you may not understand, and then once you've done that, you can do a special super strong attack, and that will destroy a lot of their health. But getting flurry rushes is really stupid hard, and I don't know if that's just me being bad at the video game, or if the window of time when you can do it is so tight and precise that the game is just hard because of it. I don't know, but yeah, that's my only real gripe. Really love it. If you loved Breath of the Wild, pick it up. That's all I'm gonna say. It's nothing like Breath of the Wild, but pick it up because it's so good for the story, and I think you'll really enjoy it anyway. Wow. yeah, that's basically all I've wanted to talk about this week, so I'll actually get round to you talking about the other things that I've got on my list. So sliding from Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity into gaming in the dark. This is where I started actually playing Age of Calamity. What I decided to do is, I'm normally glued to my phone like any other millennial / Gen Z is, and that means that I'm never really fully putting my time and energy and my concentration into whatever I'm doing. So I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn all the lights off, sit down in bed, nice and snuggly and cozy, and play games. I'm going to put my phone down, I'm going to put my smartwatch on mute and everything so that there's no distractions. And yeah, I pick my phone up in the loading times because they're kind of long, but not egregious. But the rest of the time, full concentration on the game, enjoying it. Hence why I then just screamed about it for 5 minutes. Honestly, it's really, really, really fun because I've bought that big TV at the start of last year, which, wow, I've had my TV now, my like nice 4K Samsung TV for a year and maybe a year because I got some replacements. Did I ever tell you about that? Don't know. Going off on a side tangent. I think I did. It's really nice. It's like watching movies, but you're playing a video game because it's in the dark. You've got a nice big TV. If I really want to get immersive, I can hook up my Bose headphones to my TV over Bluetooth, which is an underrated feature in smart TVs. I can do that and then it's like my own personal cinema. Yeah, the TV's not like a 200,000 inch screen, but it's perfectly big enough for my room and the distance that I'm set at, so it's awesome. And especially if you turn off all the lights like I do, that becomes kind of your only source of light and it becomes your main focus. It's so good. I highly recommend it, and I will definitely be using this in the future when I want to watch movies. I'll do the same thing. For movie watching, I'll definitely put headphones on unless it's summer, because wearing over-ear headphones in summer is not something I want to do particularly. But yeah, highly recommend. It's super enjoyable, and you don't get any of the negative effects of using a bright screen in the dark, because you're kind of sat in a stationary position. You're a good distance away from the source of light and the screen that you're looking at, so you can kind of then turn everything off and just go to bed. Ooh, slight tip, something that I've been doing is go to the toilet immediately before you're about to go to bed. So one of my kind of like night rituals with this whole gaming in the dark thing is I will brush my teeth at maybe, I don't know, 8:30 or something, and get pajamas on and get dressed and everything for bed, and then set up my gaming scenario as I've just described, and then I'll just play for like an hour and a half, maybe a bit longer if I'm pushing the boat out with how long I can stay up. Yes, I go to bed at 10 o'clock, deal with it. It's more like 11 o'clock. Shh, don't tell anyone. And yeah, once you've then finished that, to kind of set your brain in the right motion, turn everything off, get up, go to the toilet, go for a pee or a number 2 if that's what you feel like you need at the moment, and then get in bed and go to sleep. It works surprisingly well. It kind of tells your brain, yeah, this is what I'm doing. We're going to bed now. So hot tip for you. Right, finally, to fill out our time for this week, what if? Not a question, the show on Disney+, the Marvel What If show. I watched it, I enjoyed it. It was a little bit confusing and a little bit weird, but that's me to a T, to be perfectly honest. I am a little bit confusing and a little bit weird. I really liked the fact that they stuck their neck out and they went for stuff that was negative. You know, you're so used to watching content that has some sort of good outcome or good resolution that having something that has a bad ending is refreshing. Now, slight spoilers, the whole series doesn't have a bad ending, but some of the episodes have bad endings, and it all interconnects and intertwines, and it's really interesting because your emotional state after watching it and processing that, oh, yeah, this is bad, there is no solution here, there is no positive, it's really interesting, and it's quite enjoyable in a sort of masochistic sense, I suppose. This is taking a turn. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, right. The visual style is beautiful. It's kind of a mix between a 2D and a 3D style. I'm not entirely sure how they made it. I imagine they made it in like a 3D software, but then had 2D style shading and line work and stuff slapped over the top. So it looks really pretty. One thing I genuinely laughed out loud is there's one scene in one of the episodes where the main characters are fluid in whatever frame rate it is, maybe 24 frames, because that's like the standard cinema frame rate. And I'm not joking, the background characters are like 5 FPS. It's hilarious. I laughed out loud because I was so just put off by how jarring their motion was, because it was so starkly different. That's a pun, because Tony Stark. It was so starkly different that you just couldn't ignore it. There were supposed to be background characters that you're not paying attention to, but you couldn't not pay attention because it was just so weird. But that was funny. I literally made a note, background characters at 5 FPS. That's how much it stuck in my mind. I really enjoyed the concept though. I liked the idea of what if something slightly different happened in the story and the timeline that you've seen. That's the whole premise of the show, right? But it left me wanting to know how it played out. So slight spoilers, first episode is, what if Agent Carter becomes the super soldier as opposed to Steve Rogers? And basically, I just kind of wanted to see then how that universe played out. How does everything else fit in? Is that a universe where literally the only difference is it's now Agent Carter as opposed to Steve Rogers? Or will a bunch of other things change? Will other characters become female representations instead? Would the universe implode? You don't know. It's just really interesting, and that's the problem, is it makes me want to see more. But they did really well to keep you engaged on the next interesting question, I think. My dad personally said he didn't end up watching much of it. He stopped partway through the first one because he just found it confusing and weird, which we both said the same thing about WandaVision. That was confusing and weird, and it still is confusing and weird. That one did not play out as well as I'd hoped it would. Other people disagree, but hey ho. What can you do? It's an opinion, you know. I didn't think WandaVision was bad. I just thought it was underbaked. That's a good way to put it. It could have been so much better, but it wasn't. Hey ho. Anyway, I'm now gonna have to play Drive Home. Stay safe, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.